Welcome to Live Reality Games. We are here with a special new game introduction. Now, technically speaking, this isn't the newest game from the production team that we're seeing here, and we'll get to meet a few of those folks. This is actually season 2 of what they filmed and put together for us. We're talking about Surviving South Dakota. We are joined here. We'll start kind of just in a circle. Michael, how are you?
Hello, Dustin. I'm doing well. Thanks for having us.
Now, the folks that are viewing at home, tell us who you are and what part of Surviving South Dakota you are.
Sure. So my name is Michael Beechin, and for this second season of Surviving South Dakota, I am the host. So I created the games. I created a lot of the storyline, essentially, for this season. And oh gosh, I feel like I'm spoiling for the first season, but I am this season's host because I won the first season. So we want to switch some things up a little bit, which Petey will get into. But that's the role that I play.
Absolutely. Don't really worry about spoilers here because, as we know, live reality games in general, you can know the outcome, but it's all about the experience of how you get there. You're going to watch the challenges, the voting. It's great that you won, but how did you get there is really what a lot of fans like to see. Jason, welcome as well. What brings you here?
Well, yeah, I am Michael's fiance. A big part of what our game is it's a family game on a camping trip. It always takes place on a camping trip, more of a glamping trip, if you will, because we stay in cabins. But this year we actually had no air conditioning, and it was 96 degrees every day, so it was kind of terrible. But
roughing it.
Yeah, so that's how I'm here. That's my relation to the cast. I am one of the competitors in both seasons. I guess spoiler alert, I did not win season 1. I came really close. I did a great job, I think. But I'm also a professional videographer. I went to school for videography, and so I'm the editor of both seasons as well.
Fantastic. Before we get into those seasons, there's one more person here with us today. Peter, or Petey, as I've been hearing that you refer to. How are you?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Doing good. So I am Petey from the show of Surviving South Dakota. I was also the host of the original season of Survivor Gatlinburg. So at that time, I was the one that was setting up all the games and the challenges and all the twists and turns with that. And then throughout the whole time, our production help was Kendra of the group. So she did most of the filming. So the two of us worked together to basically get the whole season rolling, and then basically having Jason do all of our video post-production, getting everything all put in a perfect, fantastic bow that I loved. But now that we got into season 2, we got to learn a bunch of new things, what we wanted to see, and just really accelerated the production value, which Jason could not have done in any more phenomenal job than what he did. So
thank you.
Now, speaking of production and production value, Jason, since you edited the episodes, where do we find these episodes at?
Yeah, so you can find them on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Jason Schroeder. My last name is spelled Schroeder. People don't spell it right usually, and it's not listed here. So yeah, you can find them on YouTube. You could also search Surviving South Dakota or Survivor Gatlinburg, and they should be one of the first things to come up. Or just search my name, even if it's spelled incorrectly, it'll probably come up.
In Facebook.
No, I think I found it right here. So in the comments, we'll put it right here. So make sure you click that link, and it'll take you to the Surviving South Dakota page, technically Jason's YouTube channel, technically. So
all sorts of other good stuff in there too, not related at all to this.
But definitely, I just hit that subscribe button, so make sure you check out that page and hit subscribe so you can get all the notifications and whatnot for the next episodes. Speaking of subscribing, make sure you subscribe to our page as well, Live Reality Games, here at YouTube. Everyone nodding their head in agreement. So yes, subscribe. But besides the subscriptions and stuff, Jason, when do the episodes come out about Surviving South Dakota?
Yeah, so they air on Thursdays. We just did our second episode of the season last Thursday, so we're coming up on episode 3. They air at 8 p.m. Central. I know you're on Eastern, so I guess 9 o'clock Eastern time. And yeah, we will be taking a short break for the holidays because I feel like availability will not be there for people watching, but we'll be back after episode 3 in the new year.
But in the meantime, season 1 is all uploaded and ready to go, so you can watch all 6 episodes of that before moving to season 2.
That's right.
Now, speaking of season 1, let's backstep just a little bit. Peter, you were the host of that. How was it hosting this endeavor or extravaganza, maybe?
Well, as we were talking a little bit before, so when we were all kids, I was always the older cousin taking care of all the younger kids in the group. And so we would always play Survivor and other reality games in our neighborhood. So basically, we would go out into the park for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. And the parents loved it because I got to sit at home and not watch the kids while we're out there playing. So I got really into the habit of being able to be the host and to come up with the most creative, torturous things I can do to these kids to try to snake their way to the win of that day.
Of course, you're the big brother. You got to put them through a hard time, right?
Definitely, yeah. And then into our adulthood, we still continue to go on our family camping trips. And as we were there, we were like, you know what? We still want to play. So we started playing on our camping trips, but they're a little bit more extreme as we were older. There's a few different games I could think of. For example, chasing dogs in a in a gated area filled with dog poo. So that was a lot of fun. So then came Gatlinburg, where we decided, hey, maybe it's time to actually start filming these. So we got the camera out during the whole time because we know we loved it so much. So we assumed other people would get a kick out of it at least friends and family members. And if it branches out from there, cool. So that's how we started getting into the production of it all. But yeah, I love hosting. It was a blast, and maybe I'll do it again one time. But we'll see what happens in Surviving South Dakota.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to talk about this latest season too. Let's just go over the cast real quick. I have a picture that Jason just sent me of the cast here. So who are we looking at? Who's the cast here?
Go ahead.
Sure. So I'm kind of like a branch of this family because I'm marrying into it. Michael is my fiance. Petey is his cousin. And so the one that you're hovering over on the mouse is Michael's brother-in-law. So that is his sister, Megan's husband. And Megan is not in this photo. She was a competitor in season 1, but she's pregnant right now. And so we didn't want her playing, / she didn't want to play.
Well, congratulations to her.
Yes, she's due, and
she's gonna have a +1 vote eventually down the line. So
that's right. Yep.
We made the running joke that it was John's attempt to get a competitor out right away before we even started.
And then next in line, who do we have?
Yeah, so that's Kevin. He has been great friends with Petey, as he explains it in the first episode, for 7 years. They used to work together at Toys R Us. Petey was his manager, right?
Toys R Us, yes.
Yep. And so he has been very close with the rest of the family for a long time, always at family gatherings and parties and stuff like that. So it was fun to have him along. He was a new competitor for season 2. We had 7 people for season 1 and then 9 for season 2. So most of us are returning, but there's some new ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. The cast is growing every year. So
yeah.
Now, just looking at the dynamics between these two, the first guy looks really tough, physical threat for sure.
We call him the hero. So
yes,
he's a fireman.
He's a fireman. So before Survivor, he's been called the hero just because we're obnoxious and constantly telling him he's a hero because of that. But also, he pretty much fits the part perfectly. I mean, he's a very intense and intimidating competitor, so it fits.
That's exciting. So who do we have up next in the red shirt here?
That's me, this guy right here.
So Peter, how do you describe yourself? Yeah.
How would I describe myself? So normally with being the host, you don't have to worry too much about how you come across on camera because you just say what's going on and all that. So this was the first time ever in my career of teaching these kids and playing Survivor. It's the first time I actually get to compete in it. So I wasn't sure how I was going to come across or what decisions I was going to make when it came time for me to play. And so, I think I played as best as I could. We'll see what happens with me, but I guess I'll let the fans decide about how I'm well received or not.
That was a common theme of, oh gosh, how am I going to be perceived by the audience? You can kind of tell in some of the confessionals in both last season and this season that people sometimes tiptoe around their answers. They're like, oh, is this too much for me to say out loud in front of a camera? So Petey's not alone in that way.
But I'm not afraid to get dirty on anything though, so I'll just say that.
We did less this time because we were like, all right, you need to really lay out what you're thinking because nobody did in season 1. And so we were intentional with that, and it's juicier. And it also is stickier because we're family and we don't get to just leave. And we're like, that was the game. But this is life. Yeah.
It's really like a blood versus water season when everybody is the same blood and some water in there as well. So it's interesting that everyone kind of has those connections between, and for having this game run as long as you have, I'm sure there have been past alliances that have been broken, like people have voted each other out. So it's interesting to see how they come back next year and try to rectify that.
Yeah. And us as newcomers, getting to see how they all played in season 1. We get a little leg up of knowing how they play and work around that. So,
Michael, who's this next person here?
That would be Jason right here, our videographer and contestant, runner-up for season 1. That's Jason.
Oh,
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Jason, what's your play style like?
Well, so if you watch season 1, I had actually never ever seen Survivor when we played season 1, so I didn't know like what to expect, how it would play out. I described like what I thought was going to happen with the jury because I genuinely did not know, and so I thought that they were going to play like a different role. So I was just kind of there. I was very good in the challenges, but I don't know, strategically, I don't know how good I was, even though I made it to runner up. And so to edit together season 1, I watched like 20 seasons now we've seen of Survivor, and I've become like obsessed with it. And so I'm like, okay, this is what I was supposed to do. People have always told me I'm made for reality TV because I'm nasty. So that's pretty much what you get to see in season 2 is I know what the game's about now.
He really leans into it this time around. Yeah.
It's just a game, right? Especially between
it's just
family.
a game until
get
people
over
talk
it,
about it at like family parties, and they're like, I really am still mad at you. Then it's like, oh gosh.
Well, then next year you just have to make it up to them. Be like, all right, I will be in an alliance with you.
Right.
So,
yeah. Wink.
Let's go on the top.
So they say.
Who's up on top?
That is my sister Mei Lee. She is another recurring competitor. She is my youngest sibling. And she is pretty famously, she speaks whatever is on her mind, and that is both good and bad sometimes, depending on who she's talking about. But I think that she is always loved by every audience that watches her. In the first season, she actually won fan favorite, which was determined, I think, by Petey and my mom, Kendra. But I think that
by production is what we'll say.
But I think that if it were up to like an audience vote, she would hands down get fan favorite. She's just hilarious and authentically herself always.
I've heard her described as a firecracker. She's cold-blooded, especially because she's like the youngest one by quite a bit. She's not afraid of anyone.
No.
And you would never guess it.
Oh, especially like the environment that she's raised. Like you guys are competitive with every situation, it sounds like. So she has to fight for being the youngest for sure.
Yeah, and she was like a solid decade younger than most of the other kids. So when we were out playing Survivor, she was a baby toddler, so she wasn't really able to compete. Otherwise, we would just thrown her down the hill right away. Been done. But she definitely brings a lot of fun and excitement to the game, though, I gotta say.
Let's go down here. Who's this person?
That is my best friend, Sarah. So she is
Sarah.
She is new to season 2. She did not participate in season 1, but I think she would have done a great job in season 1 too. But we'll get into this, I'm sure. We wanted to integrate some new people, some fresh blood into the game to spice it up. We didn't want to ever make a repeat, I guess, with any of the seasons. So we were like, how can we do that? Let's bring in some new people. And the first people that came to our mind was Sarah, and then her partner Ryan as well, and Kevin, who we already chatted about.
Which I gotta say is kind of a big ask, because you're asking people that to go on a 13-person trip for 9 days with a family that's like very tight knit like that. So it's a big ask.
Mhm.
On top of all that, too, we're glamping, but it was like 96 degrees. We
Yeah.
had no AC, and we were playing Survivor from 9:30 a.m. sometimes until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, doing the challenges, and then having confessionals for like 2 hours, and then doing tribal council. So it's like, it's vacation. It's not actually vacation.
Not a vacation.
No.
Honestly, probably anybody that follows this page will think that's an amazing vacation. Like, we've had contestants survive outside in like 110-degree weather, or
Yeah.
survive outside getting flooded with nothing to do. So in cabins, that's like paradise in some
Yeah.
situations.
Definitely.
So,
You're right, for sure.
let's see here. Up on top.
That is Sarah's partner, Ryan, who I was
Mhm.
mentioning. New to season 2, also great competitor. Although we are in our second episode, it just recently aired last Thursday. That was, actually, I'm mistaken. Sarah got eliminated in the last episode, but Ryan was the first person eliminated. So sad we didn't get to see more of Ryan and Sarah both, because I think that they're both really dedicated to their teams, which Petey can speak to a little bit more, being on the same team as them. But we lost them too soon, and very excited that they were excited to be a part of our season.
Now, I'm just curious, how did this ask come about? You're like, hey, what are you doing? Let's go on a
that's
trip
good
here.
question. Yeah. So I think we just pretty much were like fielding a little bit at first, like, hey, would you maybe be interested in doing Survivor with us? Because they had been following the first season, super excited by it too. And Sarah's been my best friend since like I've been a kid. Sarah actually probably participated in some of Petey's Survivor shows when we were all growing up together in the neighborhood.
Mhm.
So she knew what she was getting into a little bit, I bet. Probably not fully, but we probably just like dipped our toes in asking, and then really plunged ourselves in with like, okay, you need to commit, because I'm now creating the storyline for this. So you need to let me know if you're in or out.
Let's go down this. All right, next person.
Yeah, so that one is Emma, who is his brother Eric, who's on the other side of her. That's his fiance. She's in both seasons. She was kind of like, she had an underdog storyline in season 1. She's a vegan who ended up eating bugs that she was really convinced she was not going to be eating. She voted out Eric, who is her fiance, as the first person in the first season. So people were really on board with her, and super excited to see her come back and play again. She has a lot of fans. So yeah, that's Emma.
It sounds like Emma's probably my favorite, judging by this assessment so far. So Emma, I have high hopes for you in this season. Okay, good luck.
Emma has a lot of fans, definitely.
He does.
Do you have any special connection with her, Jason? Do you guys like work together and hey, we're getting married into this family, let's work together?
No.
Oh,
no, we did not have that this season.
No. It didn't come up.
Well, so we were on a tribe together in both seasons actually, and in season 1 we kind of had a bit of a connection because we were on a tribe of 2 eventually versus the ones that had no one eliminated yet, and then we ended up losing, and it was like, okay, well, one of the 2 of you is going, and so I don't know, there wasn't a lot we could do to align, but we
just had to throw each other under the bus. That's what it was.
Yeah. I mean,
they were aligned in that they were stuck with each other.
Yeah, right.
But my thing for this season, because I observed what was going on right from the start, from when we knew like who was playing, I was like, okay, so John, his wife's not playing, so he's alone. My fiance is not playing, so I'm alone. Mei Lee is not playing with a significant other, so she's alone. And so my goal was to get the 3 of us together because everyone else had like a best friend or partner playing. So Emma had Eric there. And so that was like, I didn't even try.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Last up on the cast.
Last but not least, that is my younger brother, Eric. He is a recurring competitor, of course. In season 1, he was eliminated first because of yours truly. I did have to get him eliminated. So he was probably slightly relieved to know that I was not in the second season, so he could have a better shot at playing this one. He and I, for our entire lives, are always neck and neck in competitions. Like, I don't know if there are more competitive people. Well,
brutal. Anywhere from Survivor all the way down to playing Candyland as kids, like just brutal.
Definitely, absolutely. But it's all in good fun. I love him. He is a really strong competitor as well. So it makes sense to target someone that's super strong. But yeah, he was an exciting person to see play the second season.
That's exciting. Now, last but not least, there is someone that's looking awfully like Jeff Probst down there. You got the blue shirt and the hat and everything.
Michael Probst.
It's Jeff's long lost brother, Michael Probst.
Oh, that's who it was. It looked familiar. So
he was very excited to be able to host. He got a whole outfit.
A few of them.
Yes, that's not just one outfit that I had brought, but very excited to host. It was sad to not be a competitor for sure. I was watching everything unfold and I was like, oh my god, I want to play so bad. But being able to create everything, be able to watch people have fun with it, that was the best. So that's me.
Now,
that's the biggest comment we get is, oh, I want to play so bad.
It's true. I really did. Like, oh gosh.
Michael, when the cast was all assembled and you're ready to get down to the gameplay, who did you have your money on to win? Relationships aside, like you can say anyone, even though Jason's right next to you and he might hit you or something if you don't choose it. But who did you think was going to win?
That's a great question because, and you can ask anyone on the cast. I had told them countless times, this is anyone's season. I made it in such a way that you could not know, based on the challenges that I had created, who might make it to the end. You could maybe guess correctly, but I truly went into it not knowing at all who I thought would win. If I had my arm twisted and I was thinking, oh gosh, who is probably going to win it? I would say John, because he's a hero, firstly. He has the love of the entire audience who are not participating. He has the love of everyone in the family. So he's one of those people, though, that you're like, oh gosh, I can't take him to the top two because he would get all the votes. But if he found a way to make himself there, I would be confident that he would win. So that's where my vote would go.
He's always so calm and like never starts arguments with anyone. And so from like not a game standpoint, everyone's like, I'm not taking John to the top two because he's going to win. Everyone loves him. Everybody loves everybody in this group, but there are some that I like really butt heads with, and that's not John for anyone.
Right.
Sounds like John would be a nice alliance to get to like Final Four, but after Final Four, you're not getting to the end. That's for sure.
Yeah, all bets are off.
Michael,
he's strong as long as there's no cards involved. Card stacking.
That was one of the challenges we had in season 1. To make it to the top 2, we had to make a card house. John and I admittedly were terrible, but that's when John was axed, and Jason actually won the challenge and made his way to the top 2.
Which was the question I was going to ask. Like, what kinds of challenges? Like, you're on vacation, so it's not like you can bring a U-Haul around with you with like tarps and everything like that. What kind of challenges do you plan on during these events?
You want to tackle season 1, Petey? Because I think
yeah. Like, how do you run this? Like, Peter, do you like as the host per se? Do you pretty much have the whole game planned out? All the challenges?
Yeah, for season 1, I had a giant. You guys might remember this. I had a giant blue sack just piled with equipment that I brought with us on the trip.
It's like Santa Claus.
Exactly. Yeah. Except you don't want anything that's in that bag. But yeah. So we ended up. I ended up filling everything out prior. Like this, it takes months to plan. Like we were going. What was it? July, I think. I started planning in April. So it takes months to get it ready to go. You have to write all the rounds down on a sheet of paper. And you have to be ready to know of, okay, what's the worst case scenario that can happen with one team versus another team. So like, if you get one team down to just 2 people, which, in season 1, that actually happened. So I was ready to go if something like that happened. But you have to plan for every scenario for every single day. And as we learn, and I know Michael definitely learns it too, is that you can plan till your heart bleeds, but when it comes to it, things are going to happen that you can't account for. Ripped logs, or rain that was aggressively nonstop. A lot of things can just play a factor in that. So you do things to the best of your ability, and then just got to make it up on the fly if something goes wrong with one of the challenges. So it's very important to have. You got to have, when you have a lot of people, you got to have those physical challenges ready to go. You always got to have puzzles ready to go. The absolute fan favorite of every season keeps being the food challenge or whatever's going on there, because it's sick humor.
Definitely.
I mean, yeah, you just really follow along with what's going on the show Survivor, of just like, you want to have every aspect covered, so that it can't just be physical all the time, because then certain people will always dominate. So you got to be able to mix it up with each day. And so that's what I thought of with season 1.
Yeah.
Speaking of eating challenges, I have yet to lose an eating challenge, so I'm just putting this back out in the universe. Like, the next time I play a game, which has been a very, very long time that I've actually played a game.
You should try Michael's. Let me tell you something. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was intense. That's actually going to be this coming Thursday. It's the eating challenge, so I won't say anything with spoiling, but it might have been more intense than the first season. But
oh yeah,
we needed to know where the nearest hospital was, just in case.
Oh,
a little bit, yeah. But
yeah,
he brings up a really good point. When you're planning these seasons and creating the challenges and thinking about what to do and like writing up the storyline, it is pretty much following the butterfly effect, where it's like one thing is the target, but the outcomes could be two different things, and you have to follow both paths. And as they continue to spread out, you need to still think about everything that might happen and how that might impact the overlying storyline of the entire season. So, like, as we saw in the first couple of episodes, one tribe was continuously losing. Like, they lost the first 2 challenges that we had seen so far. So you also needed to think about, okay, well, what if they didn't? So then if it became even, the challenges then would require an even split. But in episode 2, since one of the tribes had lost already, it was a pretty uneven balance of teams. So then someone else had to sit out. And then you need to think about, okay, well, how do you determine who sits out, and how does the team determine that? Do you want to make it like a fun twist where someone's already in exile and, anything could have happened? So you have to think about not just the challenges, but also the outcomes and how they would then affect the next challenge. But in creating the challenges too, the way that I was thinking about it, I really wanted to have a theme with the entire season, which was where we were, like South Dakota, with mining and the gold rush, if you want to call it that. I'm not sure if that was actually impactful of South Dakota, but lots of mining, gems, diamonds, stuff like that. And also the local culture of Native Americans. So I wanted to include that in some way and throughout the challenges and the theme. But I also leaned heavily on past Survivor seasons and challenges that I thought, okay, that doesn't require too much equipment. I think we could recreate that in an easier way. I got a lot of inspiration from that.
Oh, very cool. Just to recap, folks tuning in a little bit later in the podcast here, we are sitting down with Surviving South Dakota and technically Survivor Gatlinburg as well. Have you thought about like a overall like premise name per se in the future, or Jason, you're the videographer, so it's on your YouTube channel.
Right. Yeah. It was my decision to rename it this time because I cannot even tell you how many people were like, oh my God, I'm so excited that you're on Survivor. Like, how was the audition process? Like, all this stuff. And I was like, well,
Just roll with it. Like, yeah, I sure am.
That's what we do.
Tune in.
Wait and see.
Like, you're going to watch it on CBS and be like, where is he? No, so that was my decision because I was like, well, I'm flattered that my promos are so good that you think that it's the real show. But it was very sad for me to explain, like, well, this is like really good too, but it's not the actual show. And so we went with Surviving. And I thought, like, if we were to do a season 3, maybe it's funny if we pick like another version of the word Survivor. But we don't have an overarching one. We've kind of called it like the Beach and Family Survivor. That's not written anywhere, but No, we should. That would make it easier.
It would.
Yeah.
Survival season 3.
Yeah, survived.
Yeah, of course, from our community, there are survivors, there are survivals, there are survivings. So, I, list goes on and on. You can just come up with a different name each season. That would be cute. That would be cute.
Yeah.
So where do we find the episodes again, Jason?
Yeah, so you can find the episodes on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Jason Schroeder. You can also search for Surviving South Dakota, Survivor Gatlinburg, and Jason Schroeder in the YouTube search box, and you should find them. We do also have a Facebook page, which is facebook.com/survivingsd. The episodes do not stream there, but we have lots of posts and previews and interactive things that you can keep up with.
And the cast is always on there interacting with the fans. So
Yes.
That is super exciting. So I'm just curious, do you all keep up with the current season of Survivor?
I will watch it, but we
will watch it. Okay.
Yes.
No, I do. I'm specifically cheering. I probably shouldn't say who I'm cheering for. So
yeah, I know. That's what I was checking. I'm like, has everybody caught up yet? I was going to see like who you're rooting for in the current season. So
Team Xander. Sorry. Right.
I've heard a lot about Xander.
Yes.
Yeah. We are watching from the start, and so we just finished Heroes versus Villains, which was like one of the best. And that was all in the last year. We watched the first 20 seasons.
Yeah.
So
sure. Rework that question. Who is your favorite Survivor character so far that you've seen? Let's start with Jason.
Gosh. Mine, I feel like, is not a very popular answer because she objectively didn't do very well, but I love Sugar. She's just so lovable and sweet, and like went into it knowing nothing, went throughout the entire game in Gabon, never performing well. But she made it to the top, and she's just so sweet. And then in Heroes versus Villains, she was voted out first, and I was really sad about that. But I love her.
Michael, it's deep in thought. So Peter, we'll skip to you.
I got two for girls. I gotta say, my girl Parvati is one of my favorites, and then even though he's pretty controversial, I do like Ozzy a lot. So I think he's just truly meant to be out there all the time. I don't think he ever got that W, if I'm not mistaken, but he definitely deserves it at some point.
He's definitely out there these days.
You're
Michael.
Right.
Michael, what are you thinking?
This is really tough. I was not prepared. I know.
I saw it right when I asked the question. I was like, uh-oh. So
yeah.
I say Sugar too, because Sugar is great.
Season, so, yeah.
Sugar is great. I've narrowed it down to 2. Okay, so
I can have 2. Peter went with 2. So
yes. Where my mind goes first is Richard Hatch from season 1. Specifically season 1, nothing that came afterwards. I'm going to ignore that ever even existed. So strictly season 1, I loved the strategic way that he played, where no one knew what to expect from this kind of game, but he was formidable in that he could outplay, he could outwit, and he could outlast. So I really love that. And similarly, I forget which season exactly and what his name was. I forget right now, but it was China, the winner from
Todd.
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that he was also a fantastic competitor,
Mm-hmm.
also very strategic. That's a running theme for me because I was also pretty strategic in the way that I played in the first Survivor Gatlinburg. So that's where my heart goes to for sure.
He makes awesome pop figures too, definitely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those little like Funkos, are they called Funkos or something like that?
Yeah. He has like a Instagram page where he basically makes them all, I believe. I think it's Todd. It should be Todd. Yeah.
Yep. It is Todd. We had an event called Survivor Brooklyn South. The winner got their picture into a little Funko person. Yeah. So made by Todd himself, which was really cool.
That's great. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
So where do you see this little like family vacation thing going? Are you planning next year's already?
We are not planning next year's because next year is our wedding, and we're probably not going to have enough PTO to also do a Survivor trip.
Yeah.
Along with everyone else, because we're doing it in Italy, and everyone on the cast we're expecting is going. They better be there. Yeah, and so no, nothing next year.
No Survivor wedding. Like
I'm still pushing to do it in Italy. I think we should go. We should play in Italy.
Yeah, a lot of people have been like, so we're doing it in Italy, right? I'm like,
yeah.
the casting potential is really there. But no, I think that's too much. But no.
It's okay. You all need like a breather year. It's okay.
Yes. After last year, I would be very surprised if we could convince everyone to play again following another year, especially at a wedding. Logistically, a nightmare, but in a perfect world, that would be a blast.
That's how brutal Michael made it too. Is that we're like, let's take a year off.
Yeah. Every day, people were like, "I hate this. Like, this is not relaxing. I'm not chill." It was.
But it was so worth it in the end, though. It was a blast. It was a blast of a time. It really was.
People will also never believe us when we say we're not doing another one. Like we've talked about doing another one. It won't be next year. But nobody will believe that because we also told them we would never do it again after the first time. And so we did it on this vacation, and like who we went on vacation with was a total secret. We didn't say anything about doing Survivor. And so it was like a few months down the line after we got back, we just dropped like a 20-second teaser of Petey, who we were pretending was hosting again, saying, "This is South Dakota." And then people were like, "You're kidding. I hate you." And so, maybe
so never say never. Never say never.
Nothing planned yet.
Out of curiosity, where did you find out about like live reality games? South Dakota is new and you folks are new to the community. So how did you get involved and find out about live reality games?
Yeah, so I have been doing all of the like graphic design, videography, marketing, whatever, because I do that stuff for work anyway, usually. Sorry, my hand's in front of your face. And so I've been both this season and last season posting in a lot of the big Survivor fan groups on Facebook. I feel like that's been a good place to get a lot of viewers. And so I made a post about the first episode just last week, and somebody commented in the comments that said, "Are you linked up with live reality games?" And I said, "No, I'm not familiar with them." And so I checked you all out, and I was like, this is a great platform that I would love to be a part of. And so I emailed you, or I Facebook messaged you.
Essentially Austin. I just was the one to respond back. Yeah. So since you're kind of like new in the waters here, would you ever consider playing like a game besides your family get-togethers?
Ooh, yes.
I would. I've actually like been planning. I know that you're talking about like another one of the live reality games, which like, yes, but I've also been saying repeatedly for the last year, I'm going to audition for the real show. I haven't, but I want to.
Why not? You were just saying you're made for reality TV.
I know. Well, I'm not the one. I mean, I agree, but other people. Yeah, no, I've been waiting we just moved, and I've been waiting for like all of our stuff to arrive here that I want to use. To make the audition tape, and so I don't know, just waiting on that.
So you need some props.
To get at it because they've been on for so long that like hopefully it's on for a really long time still, but who knows?
It will be. You got time.
Yeah.
Michael, would you ever expand from your family set and play with like a totally new group of strangers that you've never met before?
Oh my gosh, playing with a group of strangers would be the best way to play. Honestly, well, playing with friends and family also a blast, but they know who you are and they know potentially what kind of tricks you might have up your sleeve. So having a clean slate and diving in without knowing anyone, that is like the dream. I would love to do that both outside of my family and on the show too. I would be absolutely over the moon to play. Yeah, that would be so much fun.
As a quick little shout out, we do have open casting over at LRG Casting that you can check out. It is a group on Facebook, so make sure you tune in, search LRG Casting for all open applications. Peter, same thing. You're interested about applying to something else besides the family?
Oh man, I'm really getting up there in age, but I do love a crossover event. So definitely don't count me out. Definitely, I might be interested.
Now, I think our oldest contestant we've had play one of these games is about 67. So I think, Peter, you got plenty of time, okay?
It's actually 77. Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
All right, let's go 30 years on live reality games. I'm down.
Hey, might as well one a year, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So, Peter, can you explain to the folks watching at home, like, why tune in to South Dakota? What makes South Dakota special?
So, for South Dakota, what really makes it special is really just the love, time, and energy that goes into what we ended up creating. And it wasn't for anything other than the absolute love of the game, right? So we were just obsessed with what we were doing. We loved it so much. We talk about it for months on end. And our friends and family that, whether we were on camera or not, absolutely loved watching us play. And so it felt like we had something special there, to where if we loved it as much as, and not just playing, but also viewing it afterwards, it got everyone else very excited about it. So, we figured if we loved it, then everyone else may potentially love it too. And a lot of it has to do with the drama involved. The cast, I think, is fantastic. Like, obviously they're family members, so, but I truly
Obviously, you're
believe,
in it as well.
yeah,
So.
I truly believe they are a great cast. And then the production value that comes in with what Jason does is just, it's out of this world from anything we've seen before on our side of the family. So it was fantastic. We had a blast, and it makes us all really excited to have everyone else check it out too. So.
And I think we have a special shout out for who did your video stuff the first season? Michael, someone pretty close to you, right?
Yes, someone really close to me. Jason, actually, he handled all the post-production, if you want to call it that. So my mom helped film everything on her phone, and maybe my dad's phone too. But then the task was for Jason to stitch all of that together, add effects, add sound, and make it the amazing thing that we got the chance to watch. And he's doing it again for season 2, and so far it has been absolutely immaculate to see it come to life.
So big shout out to another camp mom out there. So
Yes.
integral part of every game.
Camp mom Kendra, you can hear her in the background cackling all the time. We love her so much. She'll name the hidden idol 9 or 10 different things and never quite land what it's called, but we love her for it.
Yes.
Also in that same vein, his sister Megan, who did not compete in season 2, was a big part of production in season 2. Kendra still was as well for season 2. So they both did a great job.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we doubled our employees on season 2.
The payroll is getting really big now.
I think you get a nice family discount at least, though. I hope.
Yes, that's right.
Survival Challenge does do some live commenters during the live event too. I know Kirk's done it a few times too, and Sam was on last year. So it's kind of like very similar. I'm thinking like Mom's commentary. She could maybe help out with Survival Challenge too. That might be fun. So
she would love it.
She would, absolutely.
She was living her best life in that confessional seat, trying to stir the pot.
Lives for the drama.
She does, yeah.
Well, thanks, Mom, and thanks everyone for helping out with Surviving South Dakota Season 2. Season 1 was Survivor Gatlinburg, so make sure you check that out over on the YouTube channel under Jason Schroeder. You can click the link down below that I posted, so make sure you go there and subscribe. And on your way, don't forget to hit subscribe to this channel here at Live Reality Games. Make sure you tune into all of our calendar of shows and keep up with as much as you can. And then watch these podcasts for the recaps, interviews of production and players. So thank you, Michael, Jason, and Peter for being here today. We'll stay tuned, and good luck in season 2 of Surviving South Dakota. All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.